Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Kyle Bauer visits with Randy Krotz with the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Next, Kyle catches up with Risa DeMasi with the American Seed Trade Association. And then we learn why cattle producers keep working on beefing up beef's flavor. We'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle Bauer and Duane Toews. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum. Growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first, Kyle Bauer visits with Randy Krotz about the new communications concept Smart Farm from the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer visiting with Randy Krotz, and he is with the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. That's a relatively new organization. Can you tell us who funds it and who are your members?
Sure. We're a 6-year-old organization that was created really around the issue of consumer knowledge of agriculture and some of the hard issues. It was put together by the major commodity organizations. So whether it was the NCBA, the cattlemen, pork folks came together, corn and beans and others, Farm Bureau particularly was part of the creation. And those are the organizations that still fund us today. We're primarily funded by farmers and ranchers. So we have about 30% of our funding that comes from corporate entities in agriculture, but all of the money is used to get programs out in front of consumers. And for our people that maybe know us best for the film Farmland was part of the USFRA platform, which has been a very, very successful venture for us over the years.
Well, truly, there's been a great deal of frustration with the industry on trying to help consumers understand the issues, or I'll say technology issues with farming, and you have a major new initiative on that.
We do. We've launched Smart Farm this week at the event here in Kansas City. The focus for us is to try to address the issue of that consumers are comfortable with technology in every aspect of their lives, maybe not so much food. So there's also extraordinary acceptance to technology, and young people particularly. In our research, we went out and tested a lot of terms. We wanted to find some way to connect with millennials, and Smart Farm ended up being the answer. People think about innovation and technology, entrepreneurship. They think about the things that they're most comfortable with. And we just haven't done a good job of that. For the last 60 years, farmers have really, really focused on being incredible food producers and raising crops and livestock. And over the last 5 years particularly, we've had to turn our heads toward the consumer in a way because we're even being impacted now from a freedom of choice standpoint, not just the consumer, but also farmers. So there's technologies out there that we want to be able to use, whether it's GMOs or antibiotics or other issues in agriculture. And this we hope will open up consumers' hearts and minds to what's going on the farm.
And how do you introduce that concept to that era of person, that age of person?
Yeah, certainly, a soft launch here as I describe it, but as we go throughout the next 6 months, we're going to go to the Consumer Electronics Show. We're going to go to venues like that all across the country to engage with media, with technology media, electronics media, and then also going out to Silicon Valley to do a food dialogue event to really get people engaged in what Smart Farm means.
We're visiting with Randy Krotz. He's with U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean update.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Beth Gaines is the new Kansas FFA Foundation Executive Director who joins us. And Beth, it's already been a very busy time in your brand new role.
The month of June is packed with activities, and actually the end of May, the 1st of June, we kick off with our convention. So it's been a great time to join the organization. I'm looking forward to visiting with chapters and our partners. It is really fun to visit with those individuals who are excited and motivated to support the Blue Corduroy and all those leadership programs that the Kansas FFA program does provide for our students around the state. Looking back at convention, we ended up with more than 140 chapters from across the state coming into Manhattan and celebrating some excellence during those 3 days. And one of those highlights was our proficiency award areas, which recognize excellence in our supervised agriculture experiences. And the fiber and oil crop production proficiency award is sponsored by the Kansas Soybean Commission, and we're pleased to have their support of that program. And this year, Devin Taylor from the Doniphan West FFA chapter was the recipient of that award. And some names that are familiar to our soybean friends is that Devin's program works with the family operation at the Taylor Seed Farms. And so he's very involved in the soybean industry and living there and taking part in that. And we were pleased to be able to honor Devin with that proficiency award. And he'll go into the fall attending Highland Community College and wants to return back to that family business.
How important is it to have partnerships like you have with the Kansas Soybean Commission and for them wanting to be a part of FFA?
We couldn't do nearly what we do across the state and give kids that in-depth and rich experience, both in leadership development and career skills, without our many partners. A big piece of that is that we do recognize those 29 proficiency areas and have sponsorships and partners with each of those areas. But we also, during convention, presented $183,528 worth of scholarships and awards from the national as well as the state foundation. We just had a group of students return from Washington after they had been in our nation's capital for nearly a week and were totally immersed in leadership development and what it makes a difference in their personal lives and in the lives of their communities and how they can make a difference.
That is Beth Gaines, the new Kansas FFA Foundation Executive Director, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more Farm Factor with Kyle and Risa DeMasi with the American Seed Trade Association.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn. For livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family-owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Kyle and Risa talk about precision cover crops.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer visiting with Risa DeMasi. Risa is from Oregon, but she works with the American Seed Trade Association. Let's start, Risa, with what the American Seed Trade Association is.
The American Seed Trade Association covers everything that starts with a seed, and everything really does start with a seed. We handle everything from alfalfa to zucchinis and all types of breeding techniques, from organics to conventional to all the new innovations that are coming out.
You would think, though, that with that wide of a range, they wouldn't have a zucchini breeder, if you will, wouldn't have a lot in common with an alfalfa breeder, but that's not true.
That's absolutely not true. We have a lot of shared values. Quality seed is incredibly important, as farmers know very well. They have enough that comes at them and that they have to manage. The last thing they need is having to manage, low quality seed with a low germ, or, maybe some weeds that might be in there. But, quality seed and making new tools available, that's what we're all about.
One of the new areas is an area that your particular company works with, cover crops.
Cover crops is very exciting. I think that, we're coming into an era of precision cover crops. It's not just cereal rye anymore. We've got new products out there that are highly effective. Some of these cover crops are like the Swiss Army knives of plants. They do so many beneficial things.
I hear them referred to as a cocktail. Can you explain that just a bit?
Well, there are a lot of cocktail mixes being recommended, and what they're doing is they're picking and choosing some of those highly effective products and putting them together to meet the specific needs that the farmer has. Once he's identified the goals, whether it's weed suppression, nutrient management, nematode control, we've got products that fit all of those needs, and some of them work wonderfully together.
And literally, it could vary from across the road. One farmer may want his cocktail to be X and another one Y.
It depends on, again, what their goals are. And I think if they can identify the top three, they have so many choices to choose from. And it depends on their soil type. And we talk about the ABCs of cover crops. They need to be affordable, they need to be beneficial, and they have to be complementary to the cropping cycle that they're in, the soil type that they're in, and the management style that they're willing to provide.
We've used turnips for cattle feed for a number of years, and so that one isn't so new. But truly, when you look at these cocktails, a lot of that were plants that we hadn't considered on farms, certainly in my lifetime.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of new species that are going to come out, and there's an educational process to help them understand how those fit their cycles and their management styles and whatever the needs that they have are. One of the new ones is like a very cold tolerant Balanza clover called Fixation. And not only does it do a fantastic job at producing nitrogen in the soil, it's really good at providing pollinators with their forage needs and livestock with their needs as well.
You mentioned pollinators, and certainly that is one thing as farmers we're asked to start to try to manage for.
There are 400 million acres of pastures in the U.S. What a great opportunity that we have to make a big difference and an impact on that pollinator health and their migration pattern. If you look at where those acres are in the U.S., they're right up and down that corridor where they're migrating. And these products that are beneficial to them are also beneficial to the soil, beneficial to livestock, beneficial to the farmer's bottom line, because they're highly efficient at what they do. You don't need very much, and a little bit goes a long way.
We're visiting with Risa DeMasi. She is with the American Seed Trade Association. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for a look at how lipid, carbohydrate, and protein components influence beef's flavor.
This is Eric Stonestreet. And as many of you know, I love my home state of Kansas. In March, Kansas ranchers lost homes, equipment, and thousands of cattle from the largest wildfires in the state's history. Imagine losing all you have in a fire. Not just your house, but your livelihood. Ranchers are beginning to rebuild, but it will take years and tens of millions of dollars to build back herds, fences, and other infrastructure. Today, I'm asking you to help. Donate what you can and show your support to the ranchers of Kansas. Simply go to kansasfires.com. Your donation is tax deductible and will go to those who need it the most.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor. Let's learn about beefing up beef's flavor.
Beef's challenge is also its opportunity. Meat scientist Bridget Wasser talks about the ways lipid, carbohydrate, and protein components all influence beef flavor.
There's all these different flavor notes that are in beef. These compounds are just waiting to be activated when we heat or cook beef. But that adds to the complexity as well, because beef isn't just does it taste good or does it not taste good. There's just individual flavor attributes and notes and descriptive terms that we can use that all have to kind of be turned on the right way when we heat and cook beef to get a great beef eating experience. And so it adds to the complexity, but it also makes beef a really unique tasting food that's unlike any other protein or any other food item out there.
Most taste panel research says beef stands out for its buttery beef fat flavor.
A big driver of beef's lipid component that impacts flavor is marbling or intramuscular fat. There's such a unique flavor with that marbling fat. It's described as a buttery beef fat flavor, and that's unique to beef. And it's not present in other proteins, that buttery beef fat flavor that beef marbling has. So it really gives us that uniqueness and that kind of a competitive advantage in that sense, because that is such a preferred and liked flavor by consumers.
Genetic selection and management that focuses on intramuscular fat can improve that specific flavor note.
That marbling fat is affected by our production practices, genetics, days on feed, what we feed. Grain feeding, for example, is really required to get intramuscular fat or marbling, and that's worth it because it really does impact positively the flavor experience, and that really is why marbling is so rewarded in our beef industry and our quality grading system, because it does directly impact not just flavor, but tenderness and juiciness as well in a really big way.
When consumers spend more on beef than competing proteins, they expect more. That's why it's so important for the beef community to keep making improvements.
They're thinking about a great beef eating experience. They're thinking of some of those kind of key product attributes that us in the beef industry are very familiar with, like tenderness and juiciness and flavor, things we know have to be good in beef to have a great eating experience. But the consumer also thinks about things like how beef smells, how it looks, does it look fresh, does it smell great? So it's kind of that whole package that the consumer is looking for. They eat with their mouths, but they also eat with their eyes and their nose and all their senses.
I'm Bob Cervera.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Bill Rischel here in North Platte told me about Kansas Regenerative Medicine, and after talking to Dr. Pope, we did a lot of reading and researching, looking on the internet about it. I guess the thing that impressed me is that he told me, he said, if we don't think it's going to help you, we're not going to do it. I'm a former athlete, played college basketball, had some severe trauma on the right ankle. This brace is what I had to wear all the time. Now I don't wear this during the day. That's a real improvement for me. Encourage anybody that's interested to go down and do a consultation with them.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with the nauseous Duane Toews.
I tell you, it's not easy being me. If my arm was
even,
longer, I wouldn't have to wear these glasses.
It's not even easy being around you.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
It takes 15 years, Kyle Bauer, after a person stops smoking for the body to completely recuperate from its ill effects. Fact or fiction?
You know, I have read different things on that. I have read that almost immediately when you quit smoking that you start to get improvement, better.
Yeah.
And then I have read that other people that have said they quit smoking 30 years ago and got a cancer, and they attribute it to smoking they did 30 years before that.
Well, I think that's probably...
well, like bladder cancer, for instance.
Yeah, that's probably possible, but I think your lungs probably would be...
Well, you don't say lungs, though, right? Because I've learned to not split... I mean, you split a lot of hairs there.
It takes 15 years after a person stops smoking, which, by the way, I kind of got a chuckling. That's not because you're on fire. That's because of cigarettes.
Stop smoking. Okay.
Stop
right.
smoking.
All right.
The body completely recuperates from its ill effects.
I'll say fiction.
It's true.
It completely
and
does.
See, that's what I knew. I tried to lead you back after I heard you talking about the 30-year thing.
But still completely...
It says after just 5 years without a cigarette, former smokers will cut their risk of smoking-related illness in half.
I have read that.
It takes 5 years to cut it in half.
Yes, but still, I have read that your body will heal itself.
Right.
And it's well worth your time. But again, I have an acquaintance that had bladder cancer, and they attributed it to his smoking many, many years ago.
Right.
So
I got those free radicals rolling a long time ago, and they just eventually...
You know, that's interesting you'd bring up free radicals. I have not heard much about free radicals in the last 10 years. It used to be that people talked about them all the time. And, you know, so is there a reason that you all of a sudden brought that up? Maybe you read it recently, or is it something in the back of your mind?
That's just kind of what I attributed
Cancer to is free radicals. Do you care to try to explain to the rest of the world what free radicals are?
No.
Well, what I understand, and I hope
it's just a bad cell.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you know, there's millions of cells splitting.
We're made up of a lot of them.
Well, and they're splitting constantly.
Right.
In our body, and every once in a while you get a bad one.
Right.
And you just slough
it doesn't
off.
Just most of the time they just die off.
They slough off.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just slough them out. That's why your excretion is necessary through water and
kidneys
waste
and liver and everything.
You
excrete
excrete out those free radicals, but if you don't excrete them, then they hang around.
Yeah, you get hung up in something, and then all of a sudden you got a potential tumor started.
Right, exactly. And so the reason I guess I was interested to know why you'd heard it, because I just got in a discussion with my daughter not long ago about free radicals, and it was a new term to her. She's a younger person, and she had not heard that. And I thought, you know what? I hadn't heard a discussion about that in a long time, too. I wonder if it's still true.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor. We're here every Tuesday on Ag AM in Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.